What if your blood knew more about you than your mind ever could? Have you ever wondered whether those quiet letters, A, B, or O, carry more than just medical meaning? What if they spoke in the language of your soul, whispering something, psychological, maybe even spiritual? Carl Jung believed that the unconscious speaks in symbols, not always loud, but always truthful, often hiding in the simplest places. So what if your blood type was one of those symbols, a subtle, ancient clue to your inner architecture, to your archetype? This isn't science, it's something older, deeper, a bridge between biology and myth, between spirit and self. And on this journey, we invite you to subscribe to Deep Psyche, a space where we look inward together and rediscover what was always there, quietly waiting. To begin, we must ask a very old question. Why blood? Why does it hold such mythic power across cultures, centuries, and dreams? Because blood is more than biology. It's narrative. It is origin. It is inheritance. It's the red thread of instinct and memory flowing beneath your choices and reactions. Jung, who spent his life mapping the unseen, would have seen blood as a symbol of psychic energy, always moving, always speaking. Its flow mirrors the unconscious. Its vitality reflects our inner fire. But here's where it gets even more curious. In Japan, long before Jungian ideas reached the East, there existed a quiet belief that blood type wasn't just about health, but temperament, personality, purpose. It was called the ketsueki-gata theory, and while modern psychology often dismisses it as myth, something shifts when we look at it through Jung's lens. Because suddenly, what looks like cultural folklore becomes something else entirely. A symbolic map, a convergence of two worlds, the East's intuition and the West's analytical soul. And that's where we begin to see something stunning. The archetypes of Jung and the temperaments of blood type mirror each other like reflections in still water. Different languages, same essence. This isn't about proof. It's about pattern, about resonance, about seeing yourself in a new mirror and remembering something you forgot you knew. So let's look, not for answers, but for symbols. Let's begin with Type A, the quiet architects of order. People with A blood often carry a natural urge towards structure, refinement, and discipline. In Jungian terms, they echo the sage or the perfectionist, souls who seek peace through control, meaning through form. They build things, homes, systems, relationships, with thought and care. Their world is often quiet but deep. Order brings them calm. Precision brings them clarity. But like all light, this one casts a shadow. Too much control can become rigidity. Too much order, anxiety. The gift of refinement can harden into perfectionism, a burden that isolates more than it protects. For Type A, the journey is not to abandon structure, but to surrender to the unknown. To trust life's messiness, to allow beauty to bloom even in chaos. Now from the sage, we shift to the explorer, Type B, the spirited rebels of the spectrum. These are the ones who thrive in spontaneity, who ask questions that others fear to ask. They are the dreamers, the travelers, the ones who see life as movement, not destination. In Jung's eyes, they reflect the rebel or the creator, archetypes that dance with freedom and breathe in emotion. Type B souls carry an instinctive creativity. They don't follow paths, they make them. Their energy is alive, raw, full of surprise. But their shadow? Restlessness, avoidance, the ache of wanting everything and staying nowhere long enough to feel depth. For these souls, individuation begins when they stop running and start rooting, when freedom becomes not escape, but intimacy with life. But what happens when both discipline and freedom live in the same bloodstream. That brings us to the rarest of all, type AB. If you're finding this reflection meaningful, you might consider sharing it with someone else on their journey. And if this space speaks to you, subscribing to Deep Psyche helps us keep exploring what matters most, the soul beneath the surface. Type AB is a paradox, a union of opposites, order and chaos, logic and emotion. Jung might have called this archetype the mediator, or even the alchemist, one who holds contradictions and seeks synthesis, not sides. These souls often serve as bridges between ideas, people, and polarities. They sense more, feel deeper. Their strength lies in perspective, but their challenge is also depth, because too much awareness can lead to indecision. Too much internal motion can dissolve identity. For AB, the journey is to root deeply in self, to become a still center that holds the storm, rather than becoming it. And finally, we arrive at type O, the oldest, the origin, the fire. Type O carries something ancient, instinctive, primal. Jung might see them as the warrior, or the hero. These are the ones who act, protect, build, who enter a room with presence and speak with clear intention. Their psyche moves outward, direct, assertive, purposeful. But with that strength comes danger, when action becomes aggression, when clarity becomes dominance. For type O, the sacred path is in tempering power with tenderness, in discovering that true strength is quiet, that the fiercest warrior is also the most open heart. And now we return to the question we began with. What does your blood really know? Perhaps not facts, but stories, patterns, tendencies that whisper who you are when you're too tired to pretend. Your blood doesn't decide your destiny, but it may hint at your path, not a definition, but a compass. Jung believed that our purpose is not to become perfect, but whole. And sometimes what makes us whole is hidden not in the stars or the books, but in what flows silently through us every day. So, what does your blood say about you? Feel free to share in the comments. What's your type, and do these archetypes resonate with your experience? And if you're drawn to these deeper explorations, subscribe to Deep Psyche, where we honor the unconscious, the symbolic, and the sacred journey home to self. Until next time, remember, your blood doesn't just carry oxygen, it carries memory, meaning, mystery. It's a river, and you are its shore.